BBC Radio Oxford. It is 22 minutes to 4. Of course, it's Friday. You know what happens on Fridays. New movies come out, and that is why every Friday I invite our movie critic Van Connor to come on the show to talk about some of the new movies that are out, because he gets to see them before us, of course, and then he can give his brutally honest opinion on whether they're worth going to see or not. Van Connor, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm all good, Mr. Ball. I don't think that's why you invite me on. I think it's because you like to bro out and have a laugh for 5 minutes personally, but, also nerding out over movies. And speaking of nerding out, that's kind of what we're doing with this week's movies. We've got not one, but two that I would describe as incredibly nerd-centric.
Yeah.
So one's a video game-based movie, and the other one's a board game-based movie.
Yes.
So I'm coming out the gate with a pair of doozies here. So should we start talking about Tetris then?
Yes, let's start with Tetris, because I actually heard writing the script for this took longer than expected, because every time they finished a line, it disappeared.
Ha! Love it. Okay, let's press start on Tetris. Okay, so this is not the story of like something based on the actual narrative of the video game, because obviously one of the most famous video games ever made doesn't have a narrative. It's a puzzle game. It's not like they're going to cast Taron Egerton having played Jeff Tetris, and this is the story about how he had to build a house to like support his family, but he had to get the blocks in the right place, something like that. No, this is instead. Be a great movie.
It would be weird.
Taron Egerton is Jeff Tetris. This is instead the story of the lengths that certain software executives had to go to in the mid-1980s to negotiate with the Soviet Union at the height of the Cold War. This is a life and death negotiation involving the KGB, mass state surveillance, things like that, all for the sake of getting the rights to the handheld version of Tetris, not even the actual game of Tetris, just the handheld version, so that they pre-package it with this new handheld games machine that they think might be a bit of a big thing when it hits shelves. It's some little thing called the Game Boy. Oh. So what you've got is effectively the social network with a bit of Rogue Trader, and it's all wrapped up in this 8-bit retro handheld video game aesthetic, starring Taron Egerton. Roger Allam is in there as Robert Maxwell, inspired casting, and Toby Jones, the great Toby Jones, and Nikita Efremov as, of course, Tetris icon and legend, Russian coder Alexei Pajitnov, whose name is emblazoned into the mind of every Game Boy player from 1989.
Yeah, because it came up on the screen every time you turned the Game Boy on, didn't it? And put Tetris in it.
It did. First thing you saw when you turned the Game Boy and you had the Nintendo, that ting, the chime, and then it was copyright Alexei Pajitnov.
Yeah.
This is how his name made its way onto that screen in the first place. So have a listen. This is Taron Egerton and his first attempt to land the rights to Tetris.
Mr. Stein, please, hold on. What happened in there?
It's complicated.
You don't control handheld rights?
I didn't say that. I said it's complicated.
Well, either you do or you don't. What's so complicated
Have
about
you ever
that?
been in Moscow, Mr. Rogers? Have you ever negotiated with the Soviets? Do you know what it feels like to be in a country where everyone is watching you? No. So don't tell me what is and what is not complicated.
I'll pay you $25,000 to secure me worldwide handheld rights. I guess it wasn't so complicated.
Oh, see, I think this is going to be a real blockbuster.
Oof, Mr. Ball. Wow. I really like this. It's not going to set anyone. This is not going to send people running to cinemas in excitement. I mean, it's a movie about video game rights with the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
I mean, this is about as into the actual nerd ephemera of video game history as you can get. Now, as it happens, I am very into the ephemera of video game nerd history, so this is right up my particular alley. There's a million cultural touchstones you can use with this one. So Pirates of Silicon Valley is something I thought of quite a bit with Noah Wiley and Anthony Michael Hall from, I think that was 99. Rogue Trader, the Nick Leeson story with Hugh McGregor, also from 99, is something you can make quite a little bit of a comparison to here. I thought this was very good. It's not got the great imagination that you would expect from how wacky the kind of story is. There is that 8-bit retro video game, you want to say arcade game, video game aesthetic running through it. There's graphics and things like that. They switch between scenes using what looks like the Roku screensaver in 8-bit. You know that 8-bit Roku screensaver? It's like that between scenes. Like
Brilliant.
takes you to Tokyo and takes you to Russia. Good fun. I'd say if you like something like The Social Network or Pirates of Silicon Valley or any of these weird sort of like about a product movies that we've had over the years, and we're getting 3 in the next month. This is the first of 3. Because next week we're talking about Air Jordan, and a couple of weeks from now we're going to talk about the BlackBerry. So this is a weird little subgenre. If this is about as bad as they're going to get, we're okay. We're okay, which can be fine. We're going to weather this storm. This is perfectly enjoyable. Taron Egerton, maybe a bit miscast for the sort of schlubby character that he's a bit of a hunky dude. You know what I mean? He's a hunky guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really buy him as a sort of mustachioed, flop sweat 80s guy. But he brings his A game, and he's very good. Taron Egerton is someone that I don't ever see winning an Oscar, but I do think will always be great in movies. In movies, not films, movies. Make that important distinction with him, because he's all about the popcorn, and that's kind of what you're getting here.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, let's be honest. Anyone who had a Game Boy and played this game, probably a bit of an expert at filling a dishwasher these days. So, yeah.
I still play Tetris to this day. Like,
do you?
It's on my iPhone. It's on my iPhone right now. I play Tetris all the time. Still the best video game ever made, in my opinion. Second, probably the original Super Mario Brothers. But
yes.
You can't beat that. Yeah, you can't beat the first gen of Nintendo wondery.
I completely agree. Well, if you want to go make your own mind up, Tetris is out in cinemas from today. Oh, no. Is it not? Oh,
no.
How do you watch it then?
Actually, it's on Apple TV Plus from today. So you don't even have to go out. You just stay home. Incidentally, we're going to be talking about Super Mario Brothers next week as well. So we're doing 2 Nintendo movies in 2 weeks.
Brilliant.
As well as 2 product movies in 2 weeks.
All right. Well, we shall roll the dice with our next one.
Oh.
Dungeons and Dragons. See what I did there, Van? See what I did?
Is it an 8-sided dice? I can't remember if it's like a multi-sided dice. I'm not a D&D player, just so we're clear. Okay, so this is very much in the vein of the animated series from the 1980s, which, if you remember, didn't adapt a straight element of the game. It took place in the world of the games, but it introduced new human characters and sort of sucked them into the game Jumanji style. This does away with the sucking them into the game element and just has, these are new random characters. It's an adventure in the world of Dungeons and Dragons. So you've got a merry band of thieves, and it's sort of a Count of Monte Cristo riff. You've got Chris Pine. Chris Pine. I'm just checking I got the right Chris. There's too many Chris's now. Evans, Pratt. Pine. It's Pine. It's the Don't Worry Darling one. Okay. Yeah. Chris Pine, in full like medieval Han Solo mode, is the leader of a merry band of thieves. He's got the Muscle, played by Michelle Rodriguez. He's got the Wizard, played by Justice Smith. He's got the charlatan showman, played by Hugh Grant, and he's got young Master of Disguise, I think, played by Sophie Lilly. And he and Michelle Rodriguez go to prison. His daughter is taken and sort of adopted by Hugh Grant, and then when he gets released from prison, or, well, I say released, escapes in a brilliant sequence, hilarious sequence, he finds that the only way Hugh Grant will release his daughter, who he has sort of adopted and raised as his own, is to go and retrieve the mystical MacGuffin, which I believe is a scroll that brings back the dead. And Hugh Grant wants it, Chris Pine wants it, everyone wants it, but we're going to go on this merry quest to retrieve it, all in the name of reuniting Chris Pine with his daughter. I've got a clip for you, and this is the wizard of the group and Chris Pine trying to cast a spell to interrogate a corpse in a battlefield graveyard. So they're literally digging up bodies to interrogate them, as you can hear here.
Once the dead man is revived, we can ask him 5 questions, at which point he will die again, never to be re-revived.
Were you killed in the Battle of the Evermores?
Yes.
4 more questions, right?
Yes.
No, that wasn't for you. Did that count as a question?
Yes.
Damn it. Only answer when I talk to you. Okay?
Yes.
Why did you say okay at the end of that?
I didn't.
Fantastic. Where's the shovel?
See, I really love the sound of this. I think I would be sat back just chuckling away for the whole hour and a half or 2 hours, whatever it is. Sounds great.
It's about 2.25. I think it's 2.25. It doesn't feel it. It doesn't feel it at all. Very good fun. It's like a 3.5-star movie that's like a 4-star time. Fun for the whole family. I think, Albert, your son might be a bit young for it. I think you'd watch this with, I don't think you'd watch this with children like maybe younger than 8.
Yeah,
say.
his attention span wouldn't last this, I'm sure of it.
There is that. With some quite decent sort of horror elements in it for like a 12A rated film.
Yeah.
This is written and directed by Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley, who did the 2 Horrible Bosses movies, and most notably Game Night, which I absolutely adore. And they bring that same comedic energy and that zippiness and sort of an anachronistic bag of one-liners to this. Great cast. I like to say Chris Pine, Han Solo mode. You've got Regé-Jean Page, who just shows up in this as like medieval Ace Rimmer. Best way. I mean, literally just strolls, and he may as well leave every scene with "Smoke me a kipper, I'll be back for breakfast," because he's that kind of. He's just like just sexy god Ace Rimmer type.
Yeah.
And then you've got Hugh Grant at the centre of it all, just hamming it up. I mean, so much of this is like CGI that you wonder how he actually found any scenery on which to chew. But oh my God, he's going for it. Full Paddington 2 mode. I love it. I mean, it's just Hugh Grant having a ball in his robes, just being fly. I love it.
But I'm guessing Hugh Grant doesn't do his usual playing Hugh Grant in this.
Well, as they say, it's that Paddington 2 villain thing where he's sort of a preening cad kind of a type. A bit of a, you know.
Yeah, I like him when he's like that.
Yeah. I like that version of him.
Yeah, I do as well. This sounds great.
Yeah.
It's definitely on my list. I think I'm gonna try and watch this one. Now, before I say it, how can we watch it? I'm not going to assume it's in cinemas because that's not how everything goes these days.
Yeah, you remember pre-pandemic when you could just assume? No, this one is in cinemas. I saw this in IMAX. If you get the chance to, I thoroughly recommend that. There's a lot of stuff with a dragon and an owl bear, I think. There's an owl bear hybrid, which is a thing from the games, I think.
Right.
I took a fan with me, by the way, as a guest, and she had a ball. She absolutely loved it. It apparently really does its work with the mythology and stuff if you know what you're into. I'm not, really clued in with the D&D thing, but I had a blast with it.
Great.
Guardians
Well, there
of
you
the
go.
Galaxy. Think Guardians.
Go and see it yourself. It is in cinemas from today. And like you said earlier, next week we're going to be talking about Super Mario Brothers.
We are. We're going to be pushing start again to play
it.
Mario Brothers next week.
I cannot wait for that. So same time on Friday next week, we shall speak. Thank you very much, Van. Have a lovely weekend, all right? Thanks for coming on.
Till the next time, good sir.
Right, this is Ollie Murs. New one. I found her.